Hey everybody, today we're going to start a video on a kind of a different project than normal. A little bit of carpentry. What it is the house. This is the house I worked on for the previous owner. I probably started working on this house, I'm going to guess 25 years ago when I started this business. I thought about it the other day and how far it went back. There was somebody that helped me kind of get going, and I did some I've done work on this house, how I figured out it was so long ago is that's another reason I bought my first new tractor, which was a B21 backhoe. I originally disconnected all the old sewer to this house because it ended up getting put on town sewer. And it had a couple different leach fields and septic tanks. And one of my first jobs I did with that tractor is I had to disconnect those systems, collapse the tanks in, and fill around the yard. Pretty much change the landscape of this place and dig the driveway out different. But anyways, that's how long ago I worked on this. Another thing I had done is this house is an 1800s house that was a mill house originally, which in New Hampshire we call them mill houses. It was like a tenement house or whatever for the mill that was up the road. There was quite a few of these on the road that it's on, but they had burnt down over the years. There's still a factory down the road, a little bit of a power plant down there still from the river that goes down through. But it was back in the day, I believe it was a wooling mill, and they used to dye hides and stuff. But anyways, this is a 4-unit tenement house now, or an apartment house. But back then, it's old enough so there was a 3-hole outhouse off from one of the back rooms of the house on one side. And on the left side, there's always been a 1-hole, what we call a 1-hole outhouse. They were connected, but it's an old-fashioned outhouse. They blocked it off from the inside of the house years ago. And the gentleman that owned the one that was blocked off from the inside, and it wasn't in bad shape 15 or 20 years ago. Well, now the new person's got it. This thing is pretty much crapped out. It's rotted, the roof's caving in. No one's ever cared about doing anything about it because whoever blocked it off from inside the house, it looks to me like they probably made a fake wall and studded it and plywooded it, and that the room that goes out into this outhouse he made into a closet. So no one's ever cared, but now the new owner has it. The insurance company went around saying what they want done, and so I got to go rip this outhouse off. I've been doing other work on the house, and I haven't been taping it because I didn't know if it would fall under the Alden's landscaping thing, but I've kind of come to the conclusion now. I don't say no to much, and I'm going to tape everything I do. And this is kind of a neat project. What we did on the other side is we took the hallway part of it off the other side. It's like a little cavity to the back of this rental property. One side just had a hallway that came out into this little 1-hole outhouse. The other side used to have a hallway that came out into a 3-hole. Back then what I did is I don't know if that's going to be the case with this one once I take the floor out. But the other side still had 3 holes that were probably 10 or 12 feet deep. I had to fill with sand and cap it with concrete. I believe I'm going to have to do the same thing to this side unless I almost believe someone's filled it already. I just got to tear down the rotted structure. So what I'm going to do on the other side, I just faked it out rather than mess with siding from the 1800s and have to deal with it. We made it look like there's an old-fashioned wood door there. So I think that's what I'm going to do to this side, and I'm going to start that project this morning. I just thought I'd do an intro to this video. I think it would be kind of interesting. Renewing their insurance, and the insurance wants that taken off, and this little cavity of the house here has got a lot of water going into the rock foundation. It's going to be a few weeks before we can start doing the excavation work. There are, believe it or not, this has been filled in over the years because no one's ever paid attention, but there's cellar windows that got put in quite a few, I'm going to guess back in maybe the 70s, that are underneath that someone boarded up with pressure treated and it's rotted through, but the water is basically funneling off all these roof lines and coming down and going into that basement pretty bad. I'm hoping the weather breaks and we can get in here and do the excavation work. This will be the edge of where I do the fake door. So I cut that little groove off. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but so that'll be a square edge. Basically what I'm going to do is a 1x6 or a 1x8 as a trim. Then I'm going to make a fake door and put hinges on it. You'll see when I do it. I did the same thing on my garage. I took an overhead door out to make, matter of fact, where I do most of my videos, there was a garage door behind me. We're going to be painting all this stuff white, just one coat, maybe stain block the knots with some kilts, and then when I build it, I'll just have to hit it with one more coat because everything's just going to be white other than the black hinges I'm putting on to fake out the door. Get everything a coat on it. I'll see what this looks like later. And I'll come out this afternoon. I think it needs one more coat. I'm using a Valspar. It's the higher end paint, the paint primer. I am kind of impressed with it, more so than some other paints I've been using. Some of the stuff I can do on rainy days, some of it I can't. This stuff I need one good day to rip that outhouse off and build the fake door there. You'll see I haven't got the hinge kit, so I'm going to go down and buy one of those kits that come with the hinges and doing it. So it's going to look like a, you'll see the other side. Just a better way than trying to match siding and old siding. Just want to show what we got to do to get around the back side of this building. Probably take that one more tree. We'll be able to crawl up over this. Probably just trim out a little of the small stuff, but we gotta crunch this up, clean this corner up. This is built up over the years, and the water drains into this garage. I guess in the spring when things melt off, the back side of this garage has like 6 inches of water in it, sometimes for like 3 months. But this is the job I was on where I ripped out the old outhouse. So we had to clean this up, bring some stone in, built that fake door. But something I'm trying to fit into my other schedule. I think those lawnmowers are junk too, but so we'll get to it. I just figured I'd take a shot while we're beginning. Originally we were thinking about taking this little kick out off, but since we didn't, we'll crawl up around. Trying to get all the stuff away from these buildings, and biggest problem with the rot on this building is everybody and their brother, probably for the last 10 years, has been blowing their leaves back here. That's actually got a root system in it. I got to get a steel rake and break it apart. I might even come in here with the excavator and tease that up a little bit to get it to move. But it's like a, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a fine root system in it. It's only going to leaf blow down to that level, but I want to get everything out of here until she's going to have to get a guy. I don't want to do it, but she'll have to get a lawn care guy that's going to keep this cleaned out. I know someone looks like they've been in here. I've done it. Yeah, I did some work in here on some rotted wood probably 15 to 17 years ago. Like I said, the previous person that owned this was one of my customers, and these people call. So, but we'll get it. But you can just tell the water pours down in here off these big, and that main house is a big roof. See if we can get this figured out. I hate to be a bearer of bad news. I just keep giving it more and more bad news about this whole house, but like that roof up there, I don't know if your camera shows it, but that's on its way out, if not already. On our way home, I did a Sunday morning, which I don't hardly ever do, but it was something we had to finish up, and I needed the help of my son-in-law, so we've been trying to get this over with for a few weeks, and just one thing or another didn't work out. So this Sunday morning worked out, so we went over and did it, and got me out of a bind. Something I had to get done before winter. I'm getting old enough now, so I really don't want to work my weekends away. And this is the time of year, right? I like getting done 2 or 3 weeks before plow season, relaxing a little bit. This year I did get rid of quite a bit of my plow stuff. The bulk of it, I might be doing a video in a week or so. I think I'm going to be getting an old contract that I had for years. The building's been sold a couple times since I've done it. It's got to be a good contractor. I'm not doing it. I'm sick of it. I'm trying to get it so I don't have to get up at 2 in the morning to go plowing. We'll see how that works. But I just thought I'd take a shot. We got rid of that outhouse, made it look like a fake barn door. She wanted something that was inexpensive to protect the bottom of the house a little bit better, so we fixed the rot, insulated it, especially where this outhouse was. There was very little insulation. Someone had blown in insulation. We still got to deal with some paint stuff in the spring, but it's like 23 degrees right now. I'm just trying to get this wrapped up for the winter. But that's galvanized steel. I lined up the best I could. The clapboards, if you look at the corner, about 1.5 inches off, and they're about 2 inches off from the other side if you put a laser level in here. But that's normal on these old 1800 houses. Beneath the galvanized, I made up those pressure treated. Someone poured concrete in those, but it was still letting a lot of water in. The galvanized don't look perfectly straight. I was more concerned about sealing it at the top, where I just ran some clear silicone, and when I screwed that in, it squished it in. And since I've cleaned this out and got all the rotted leaves out of here and cleaned up where the brick foundation is, it's really not getting much water in there even when we have a downpour, so whatever we did worked. Right here I poured concrete in where there was a hole still there underneath that outhouse, so I filled that, capped it with some concrete, and just threw some 3/4 stone over the top. We still may revisit this next year and put some French drains in and run it out, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. They're already noticing that the sump pumps ran like once the last time it rained, and they used to run for hours, so I think a lot of it was just pouring down through the bottom of the house too, because it was rotted. And this was a rock foundation. Somewhere along the line someone took some of the rock out and put brick in, mortared brick in about 3 feet. So the top 3 feet of the rock wall in the back of this house is all brick. I think it was to shore the house up at one time. But like I said, this is still a pretty old house. Some other things we're gonna have to address. That roof over there is probably gonna need a replacement. I believe I'm the one that did this way back for the last person that owned this house. Me and my son had stripped that, and there was like 6 layers on it, and it still had the cedar shakes underneath too. But that was I don't know how many years ago, but it was a long time ago. And we got to make the decision whether we're going to take that tree. I also want to show real quick, she didn't have a lot of money to spend, but she wanted to try to get this water to go around the barn. She's been getting like 3.5, 4 inches of water in this back corner in the spring for a couple years. And we've had pretty good rain since, and I just tipped it so that the lower spot's right at that bank. And I think later on we're going to try to, once we deal with this building, we'll get it to sneak around that back corner. But there's a big boulder right there, and she's gonna have to deal with getting that big tree taken down, I think, before. But it's already working better. That land was literally tipped right into the building, so all the water that came down off this hillside hit the building. Now it's, like I said, that's the lowest point, and I think she'll be fine. So it also I got a big root system off, and there's a lot of stone in there, so the water should absorb in that ground a lot better than it was. There was a wood platform there to a building that used to be sitting there. I think it was just a detached shed, but everything was working against her. But it was just something, I was here with the machine doing something else, and I figured I'd do that for her. I also want to show on this side, there was a big U-Haul box that sat there for years, rotted out the side of this garage. It was just something else I did, and I don't believe I taped any of it. And same thing, she wanted an inexpensive way, get it white and bright again, not have a lot of money, just get it weather tight. And I came up with the idea of the white steel roofing, and that kept care of that problem real quick. And the U-Haul box, I don't know why, just whatever reason, whatever I taped that day didn't, GoPro lost. But there was a big, like I said, a good size, like a 24 or 26 foot U-Haul box that sat there for years. So everything that got between the box and that building rotted that wall out pretty good. So I put it together enough to get that so I could screw it all back together, and she's happy with it. And like I said, we picked up it was just a lot of stuff that was here over the years. That's back building's the original carriage house to this place back from the 1800s, and the new building was put in front. There ain't a heck of a lot of a foundation underneath that other one. It looks like there's center blocks down there, but they were just kind of just dry stacked, I think. But same thing with those. I kind of anchored it the best I could. It's way better than it was. But I thought I'd take a quick shot of that. Sometimes you're just like, hey, can you do this while you're here? And I do it, or I don't have the camera with me. All right, I'm going to call this video here. I'm working on this on and off probably for I'm going to say 3 months. I do a lot of stuff like this where there's a little bit of carpentry. I actually came here originally with the excavator and redid the driveways because there was a drainage issue. It's been neglected quite a few years. She just had the house left to her, I don't know, probably 2 years, a little better than 2 years ago, I guess now. It's a 4-unit rental. It ain't an easy gig, and she's realizing that, and I kind of feel bad. I'm trying to do everything as inexpensive as I can. I want to explain that in this video. You might see some stuff you don't like how I did it, but I'm doing it for a reason. This is a house that's, like I said, I want to say it's like 1842 or 1848. Been upgraded a couple times, different. It's got forced hot air heat. It's got boiler heat. It's a can of worms I wouldn't want. A lot of people, I used to work on a lot of rental properties. People ask me all the time, I'm surprised you know, I would never want to own a rental property. But like I said, I'm going to call this video here. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.